Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. Heir of Nemeticena here, and yes, we are back into those flat, grasslandic paradise of Rome 2. Hope you all are ready for another battle. Sorry I've been gone for a couple of days. There was the release of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I was extremely keen to play, and my boys really wanted me to play that so they could see it as well. And then on Saturday, I was able to get some time with my family, which included getting my older boy out to the river. Caught some fish for the first time. He's pretty excited. And then on Sunday, it was Mother's Day, so I spent that day with the family and trying to do some nice stuff for Mrs. Heir, and here I am. So yes, it's been a few days. Apologize, but it was for good reason. I don't just not do the videos because it feels good. In any case, here we go. We're going to have a good old-fashioned Getae versus Rome battle, or Dacia as I'll sometimes call them. But yeah, we've got some mercenary Thracian cavalry here, getting things started now. Thracian cavalry, you know, pretty solid skirmisher cav, and they really excel in a post-javelin melee, right, up against light units. They're going to come in with pretty good attack. Nothing special in damage or charge, but they'll be very good against light units like archers. Speaking of archers, here's some auxiliary Syrian archers, telling those Thracians to pack their bags and head home. Though I don't know if the Thracians got the message as they continue to push the issue against the Saki Equites, whereas our beloved Maximus used to call them Sockeye Salmon Equites, and we all do miss Maximus. We salute you, sir. In any case, we've got some Eagle cohort out here, an interesting one. Not a very heavy melee unit either. I wonder what the difference is, why that's not true. But wearing that beautiful segmented armor. So we've got the Eagle cohort out here on the right flank. Remember, it's going to improve morale, I believe, of other nearby units. It's not going to be supremely powerful, but it'll be solid. Veteran legionaries, and there's going to be several of those holding up the main Roman battle line, and I see quite a few Saki Equites running around, some Vigiles. I don't know if it's just two Syrian archers, it looks like. I can see two Syrian archers. I'm going to slow it down for just a second because things might get in fast here. We've got spear warriors up front for Getae, a line of noble swords behind them, which is very expensive, but there's 4 noble swords. And then we're going to have 3 Dacian heavy bows behind them, a line of falxmen, and then some spear horsemen in the very back. It's not often I say it, but Rome certainly does have a melee cavalry advantage. I don't know if they really truly have an advantage because of those Thracian horsemen running around, but we will see. And here comes the veteran legionaries going toe-to-toe with those spear warriors. Noble swords are going to be a huge threat for the Romans. They do a lot of damage. I don't know how much of it is AP, but they hit hard, and they hit often because their melee attack is pretty good. Yeah, the armor piercing's not amazing, but it's not terrible at 5. The Roman armor piercing's not good either. So, like, for instance, we go to the veteran legionaries. Yeah, the same. So they're going to have the same armor piercing, but of course the noble swords are going to charge harder, and they're going to hit harder when they're in melee, though the Roman melee attack is, generally speaking, higher, and especially with these veteran legionaries. So a very tough line, but that charge is going to be brutal, and there's falxmen who can cycle charge through their units as well, which may look funny, but it can be pretty effective sometimes at getting some stuff done. Look at this noble sword here, just trashing that Eagle cohort, absolutely annihilating it. I don't know where all those... Yeah, the kills did go to the noble sword. Wow, they just demolished that Eagle cohort. And over here, the spear horsemen are going to hold one while the falxmen charge it, and then we've got the Saki Equites working to try and get around that flank. Though you can see the veteran legionaries here easily chopping their way through that spear warrior. That is going to be a no contest. Those noble swords, though, look at that. I mean, they cut through their first enemies and are ready for more. Let's see over here, 42 kills on this noble sword. Wow. I mean, those veteran legionaries are just barely touching the noble swords. Wow, the noble swords are absolutely crushing the Roman infantry right now. And the nice support here between the falx and the cavalry is just kind of turning this into a Roman beatdown at the moment. I don't know, we'll see. Rome might be able to turn around. The power bar still thinks it's relatively even, but I'm not convinced. I'm not at all convinced. These noble swords are going to be very difficult to pull down, especially considering that the veteran legionaries haven't done more damage to them than they already have. So, an impressive showing so far for the noble swords. Let's kind of check out all of them. This one over here is over 105 kills already. Let's see, the Roman cavalry did get into the Dacian heavy bowmen, so that was a nice snag. That one's routing. Another one in pretty big trouble here. So, good call there by the sucky Equites. Getting in and causing that damage. It definitely needed to be done. The longer this fight grinds out, I mean, I would want to say that it could be good for the Romans, but there's just there's not that many of their units left, and then their Syrian archers are about to get thwacked here by Thracian cavalry. Again, they're relatively cheap cavalry, but let's see whether they actually get any damage done there. There's a little bit of armor on those Syrian archers, and it's going to pay some big dividends there as it protects those units. And there's an Equite headed back that way, so the Roman holding on to that could be clutch here. The Roman's going to need something to help overcome these swords, because there are a lot of them. And the Syrian archers could feasibly get some damage done. They do have precision shot, I believe. Well, they can also do heavy shot, which is going to increase their overall damage, I think including AP. Syrian archer got hit over here by a spear horseman, which will do a little more damage, but the Saki Equite is close by. There's a noble sword pushing in that direction, though. These Vigiles are badly needed to help intercept that. But a good job over here by the Roman cavalry, really sticking after those Dacian heavy bowmen and nearly getting the job done. The question is, what can the Roman do about all these marauding noble swords at the moment? I don't know. One of them is going to go down here, but it took a lot to get it down. So let's see how the others are doing. Look, it's 148 kills in this one right here in the middle. It's going to get a whole lot more from those Vigiles as well. So they are not anywhere near done. This one's got 175 kills. And the commander over here has got 140 almost. So, I mean, there is a Eagle cohort that needs to come back over here to really help with the morale as well. Those Syrian archers needed to pull away from that melee, and they just didn't. That was an unfortunate waste of archers for the Romans. That Getae line was absolutely thumping earlier, and it's starting to wear down. They certainly still have a great chance of winning, in my opinion. But they are starting to wear down. That was a huge loss right there. That Syrian archer loss was not 100% necessary. And it is going to cost the Romans here because this noble sword is going to cut its way through those Vigiles quickly and then start to push back another Syrian archer, which is badly needed in cleaning up. So I thought those noble swords were going to be gone, and the veteran legionaries couldn't even finish the deal. Yeah, this is incredible. 183 kills there, 194 for this one right here in the center, 294 because of the Vigiles here. So this noble sword is well on its way to 300 kills, possibly more. The Roman legatus is now into the archers, and there's another cavalry unit, so the Roman is going to take down the archers back here. And then that Syrian archer did come back. There is a mercenary Thracian cav that ran way out here, and a Vigiles. This could get interesting late into this game. Those archers are a severe threat to the noble swords, but the noble swords just continue to absolutely own. I mean, they are racking up kills against really high quality units here with the veteran legionaries, just to give you an idea that unit's doing. But I like this, pouring the archer fire in, make those guys pay however you can make them pay. You're clearly not going to make them pay with infantry, so try to make them pay with the cavalry and the archers. Looks like we got a spear warrior approaching over here, so the Syrian archers once again in a bit of a pickle here. Nice final shots, though. That should encourage this unit to rout, but it may not. It's going to get a charge in there, too, and anything it kills... Oh, okay, it routed immediately. That Thracian cavalry now, though, is a huge threat. That is not going to be good for the Romans. It was already not looking great for them, in my opinion. They certainly, I don't think, can pull this off without those archers. They can ill afford that loss. There is 85... 11 more, so 96, and 50 more, so 146 noble swords still left, a little over a unit's worth. That, yeah, this is a big problem for the Romans. Their cavalry was out of position and unable to protect their archers. Their archers were absolutely critical here, and that cavalry was not at home when it was needed at home. The Romans are going to pay a price. The armor on those Syrian archers is going to be all that keeps them from just kind of immediately crumbling, and so again, that's going to be a dividend there for the Romans that's paying off late in this one. The archers are probably low on ammunition. These Vigiles can't hold forever. So, yeah, the Romans are in a bad place here. With heavy shot pointed directly into the back of their enemies, you know, maybe it's possible the Romans pull this one off, but there's just not going to be enough Romans left on the battlefield. But a much closer battle than it looked like early on to me. I did not think this was going to be anywhere near close. as the Getae just ripped through that Roman line savagely initially. But I guess that Roman resilience still pays off in the end, right? It was not enough to overcome the Getae here, but it was certainly enough to wear them down. But look at the kill counts. It was 424 of that noble sword, 273, 228. I mean, just gruesome kill count for that noble sword line. If it gives you all any question as to whether noble swords are better than Roman swords, I think we know the answer. And let's look here. I mean, a lot of these cohorts did not go home with 0 kills either, right? We had 185, 184, 202. I mean, those are some significant kills coming in now. Were they spears? Were that they clearly weren't all noble swords. And if you look here, though, this veteran legionary held to 60, this one to 38, this eagle cohort to 15. The Romans needed more kills out of these units. And, I mean, there's only so many ways you can kind of get it done, right? Like, you have to shield them from the charge of the enemy unit. That being the case, the enemy can always just try and cycle charge like they were doing with these Falx units. I like those Falx units as a flex tool here. Basically, they come and help add some extra damage to a fight for very cheap. So I felt like that was very well done. Sol Invictus and Mark Caesar here fighting. So good game to both players. It was interesting. Like I said, I kind of expected the Getae to run away with that early. And they did win, but it was a little closer than it looked like it might be by the end. But I mean, that is an absolutely stellar performance here. 426 kills on a noble sword, triple chevron, double chevron on the others. So a very impressive performance out of those units. And it shows you why it's tough sledding for the Romans going against these barbarian swords, because ultimately the elite swords here, the barbarians, are just better than the Roman cohorts. And, I mean, it's kind of cool in a way, like, that the barbarians have that, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating, because I feel like that a headlong sword slug fight into a Roman legion, in just my opinion, again, I didn't live in history, but I feel like from a game balancing standpoint, it would be cool if that was Rome's battlefield, right? Like, you never want to go straight into that Roman wood chipper. And in a way, they are kind of like that, but I feel like that maybe where CA went wrong here was that some of the barbarian factions are a little too cost-effective with certain units. Not to say that Rome's bad. They're not a bad faction. I just think that the barbarian factions are better. That's probably the best way to put it, right? They're not a bad faction. The barbarians are just better. They get the charge, and they get the better damage and everything, and so it just... The only real downside, there is no downside, except for price on the expensive barbarian swords. That's really Rome's only chance to overcome them is with price. And that can be done with skirmishers and other things. In this case, it was not. But again, just if I was going to choose the way the game balanced, I would have Rome be the ultimate wood chipper in a sword fight. And then the barbarian factions, I would just have them be, mostly dangerous on the charge, right? Or some kind of scare tactics or whatever. I don't know. You could make up different stuff for different factions, right? Maybe the Suebi are kind of that charge and scare thing. Maybe the Arverni are like an armored version. The Boii need their own thing, right? The Nervii need their own thing. Whereas a lot of these factions were fairly similar. They weren't exactly the same. But anyway, you all see where I'm going, and I need to shut up. Hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.